no matter what Disney film or animation film, you can always like guarantee to feel something.
Finding Nemo just completely broke me. I think a lot of those films though, where they kill off the parents really early on, you're like, you bastards.
Disney do that a lot, don't they? Like kill. They have quite horrific deaths, like how
Yeah, like
Gaston dies
Bambi.
in Beauty and the
Yeah.
Beast. Like
Yeah.
and how Ursula dies, gets rammed by a flipping boat.
You know,
Pretty horrific.
If someone said to me, like, what's your all-time favourite film ever, I will always say The Hunchback of Notre Dame, because it's just, the music, everything about it is amazing. I watched it very recently, and every time I rewatch it, I notice something differently. But there's this moment where he grabs Esmeralda in the cathedral, and he sniffs her hair, and she goes, "What are you doing?" He says, "Oh, I'm imagining a rope around your pretty neck." And she says, "I know what you were imagining," and pushes him away.
What?
At all, you don't think about it. And then, Quasimodo is having the best time of his life, and then they all strap him down and they throw fruit at him, and it honestly makes me so teary thinking about it. This is so dark. And then when I was younger, I was like, topsy-turvy, like living my best life, but it's actually awful.
He's a psycho.
Special guest episode.
This week's special guest is Kirstie, another huge movie fan, and she runs a movie review page called Kirstie's Weekly Review. We suggest you give her a follow on Instagram. We already do. We get her hilarious thoughts on some recent movie releases, as well as talking about Marvel, Disney cartoons, and her career as a radio DJ. This was a really fun chat. We hope you enjoy. Also, please bear with us for the first 5 or so minutes where we have a few sound and technical difficulties. We do fix them, so don't you worry. That's quite common, by the way.
It's always the way.
Anyway, welcome back, everyone. Today we have another special guest with us. We have Kirstie, who I know from Instagram with her Kirstie Weekly Reviews on Instagram. We have kind of like quite a big network of people being quite social on these movie review platforms. But also, she's a radio DJ in Warrington in the northwest of England. If we do actually have people from not Britain, so sometimes I have to caveat where places are. Although I'm not sure, not sure if James will know where Warrington is either. No, I'm
Manchester.
I'm in Chester, by the way, so I'm only just round the corner from you, so I'm not too far. Whereabouts
so close.
Are you in Warrington yourself?
Yeah, near the IKEA. The first ever IKEA in the UK. That's us.
Oh, is it?
Nice.
I've been there. This is a bit of a tangent, but I went there about a year ago, and I just got a new car, and I went to get a big mirror, and then realised the car I bought doesn't have foldable down back seats, so I had to carry this massive mirror all the way back and get a refund.
Did you look really vain at the time? Because you're like, I just want this massive mirror to see a reflection of myself.
I just look like an idiot. But anyway, sorry. Welcome, Kirstie. But first of all, I think it'd be nice to talk about the radio stuff before we go into the movie stuff. Tell us about your job, because I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, so basically Radio Warrington is obviously our local radio station, a bit like yourselves. You can listen to it anywhere in the world. We have lots of listeners from all over. And basically, when they got wind of my reviews, they said to me, "Oh, how would you feel about maybe just being like 2-3 minute segments on the radio?" And I was like, "Oh God, I like my past is performing, so I've always been like a singer and a dancer, but I've never kind of thought of myself as like a voiceover actor." I think as well when you're northern, sometimes you can feel like maybe like a bit common and maybe that people don't understand you all that well. So I did have to adapt like a bit of a radio voice, which was quite fun. So it all kind of started from there really, and it obviously it's called Kirstie's Weekly Review, and I usually talk about the new releases at the cinema, kind of like what I thought, and then also what you can watch at the cinema. So that's how it started. And then they kind of said to me, like, how do you feel about having your own show? I was like, oh my God, I'm famous. Like, yeah, I'll do it. That's how it started. So I was really nervous at the start, but now I have like my regular listeners and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's every Friday, 12 till 3. And I do specials a couple of times a year. Like I do musicals at Christmas. This Friday is Eurovision. Very excited. And then I basically record my weekly review and I put it on our radio system, and then all the other DJs throughout the week play it, which is really nice. So I'll be listening to someone else's show when I'm at work, and they'll be like, oh, let's see what Kirstie thought when she was at the cinema, and then I'll hear it on the radio, and I was like, oh, it's so weird, like hearing my own voice back, but no, it's good. I really enjoy it.
Oh, that's amazing. So is it mainly for new releases that you're talking about, pitching cinema stuff, or do you go back into old school stuff as well on the radio?
Just for new releases. I've worked with Cineworld before, like my local Cineworld, when they had like a competition running and stuff. It's trying to get people to go to the cinema a bit more. I think people kind of, when they like, I have a Limitless card, so I go all the time. I see stuff that I probably never would have gone and watched. So I'm just doing it to make people aware. Like I watched, and it's really good. Like the amateur drop that came out last month. If I didn't have my Limitless card, it would not be on my radar. But because I went, I just enjoyed them.
So yeah, with dropping, what's the recently like this year maybe? What's a film that you really didn't want to see or you didn't need to see, but because you had the card and you were bored, you went to see a bit of a wild card? And it could have been really awful or really impressive, but like you would never have gone to see.
Baby Girl. I'll never ever recommend that film. It was awful.
Whoa.
I've not seen it. I don't think any of us have seen it.
Never even heard of it.
There was more spice in a chicken korma. It was brought across as this like 50 Shades of Grey. And it was more like 50 Shades of Beige. I went, no. You know, looking for that kind of stuff. I was sat there like, okay, like, where's this going? It was bad. Nicole Kidman was great, but the dialogue was pretty bad. It didn't have a flow. Yeah, it wasn't good. I literally gave it like 1 out of 10. And everyone was in my DMs and stuff like, no, this is the best thing ever. I was like, no, you're just saying that because it was done by A24. Don't come for me for that. No, it wasn't.
Do you grade out of 10? Because that's what James does as well. We have this funny thing.
Kev refuses. Really annoying. He got a 5 out of 10 on IMDb.
There's 2 tenors there above us now, Kev.
Yeah.
We're normally the 5 guys, which sounds weird, but yeah. You guys rate out of 10, we rate out of 5, but it all works out in the maths. So
I think though, when I do the stars, so like in my head, if I rate something like 8.5, which 8.5 and 9.5, I automatically would say that's like 4.5 stars.
yeah.
But then when I look on paper, you know, I gave Novocaine 4.5 stars, and to some people who thought the movie was good but not amazing, that seems quite high. But on paper, it was like 8.5. I mean, I loved it. I thought it was great. So I sometimes think with stars, you can seem like more generous than like what you actually mean to be. So like, I'll give something 7 out of 10, which people say is like a good score, but in like star systems, it's more like a 2.5, which seems. I think it's just each to their own. I mean, obviously, let us the stars, but I always 10, so it's just of my brain, really.
Do you care like when people comment and hate your opinion? Like if someone goes, "What? Shut up! That was brilliant!" Like with Baby Girl, or the other way around, or anything, or do you not care?
Really sensitive. So I did like a video once, what Killers of the Flower Moon. I had a really bad experience in the cinema. Their phones, like one guy was on Tinder, like it's afraid, like on Tinder, like I said, it's boring, but just leave. So I did a video, and I've had so many nasty messages on it, so I deleted it. So I really don't like it when people are mean. It's me like, oh, it's a shame you didn't like it. Here's the reasons I did like it. Have a conversation. It's mean. It is. I don't think it's necessary. Like I don't know why. I don't think it was that bad. I spoke about it on Instagram. Someone was like, "You obviously have the brain of a 5-year-old because that film."
We apologise for the sound issues. All fixed? back to the show.
Do you want to do a poem or a song or something while we're getting it sorted?
Yeah. I'm sure.
Got any elevator music we can play?
Well, no, Kev can add some of that. Dun, 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 dun. You know. Ooh.
Ba, 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 na, 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 na.
Hey.
Oh.
Oh. There we
Yes.
are.
Oh, that's better.
We can hear you.
Yes.
So I opened up a different page. Can I come back to this page now?
Yeah, you're on. You're on. You're good.
I am.
Whatever you're.
Yeah, you're here. We're going to pretend nothing happened.
What?
I'm just going to trim those
Ever?
few minutes. Nothing will happen on the actual episode. Yeah.
Big picture of Drew with that little card, like on Channel 4 after like 10 o'clock in the 90s.
Oh yeah, when it goes beep, holding a country code.
So yeah, sorry, we just had some technical difficulties. But yeah, to go back to Kirstie and the radio, you're quite excited about what's happening this week. Obviously, this is going to go out a few weeks afterwards, but you're hosting the Eurovision on the radio station.
Sorry to interrupt the show. Just a reminder to say we love and appreciate you all for listening to the podcast, whether it's on Spotify, Apple, or Amazon. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, follow, as this really helps us continue to progress and improve the content and keeps us making these fun episodes for you guys. Oh, we're also on these things called Instagram and TikTok. You can follow us there too, as we share short, funny reels on the reg that you can share with friends if you like. Now, back to the mayhem.
What does that actually entail? Are you just playing the worst music ever on repeat?
I won't take any slander against my precious Eurovision.
Whoa!
No,
I'm joking. Kind of.
Last year, so my show's 3 hours long, and then last year I basically did like just the last hour of the show for Eurovision, and I had loads of people like, oh, can you play this one? Can you play that one? Now, obviously with the radio, we have lots of music, but obviously not all of like the Eurovision stuff. So I could play what I could, and then basically I had such an influx and so many people say to me like, oh, I really enjoyed it. I thought, I'll just do 3 hours, and everyone said like, how can you fit 3 hours worth into of Eurovision songs? I was like, you'd be surprised. I've got a full 3 hours lined up. I put it on our Instagram and on our Facebook, basically saying, does anyone have any songs that they want me to play? So I've had like recommendations from people and stuff, and I'm actually hosting it with my dad, so that'll be fun.
Oh wow! Oh, that's cool. And it's this Saturday, isn't it? Is the final? Is that right? It's over a couple of days.
Yeah, the final is this Saturday.
Are you an expert in Eurovision? Are you like a big fan?
I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I do love it. It's just camp, it's glam, it's just crazy. And yeah, I love all the politics as well. I'm sat there, I'm like, oh yeah, Finland's voted for Denmark, no surprise there, like all that kind of stuff. But no, I just really like it. I don't know what it is. It's just like an event. I tried my hardest to get tickets when it was on in Liverpool, because obviously it's around the corner. So I thought, oh, pop over to Eurovision, pop back home. But it was impossible to get those tickets. I was in the queue for ages, but alas, I was very sad about that.
It's like global karaoke.
A little bit. Either of you two into
Dancing.
it? I've never asked you to.
We've had a few parties about it. And then whoever won had to host the next year at their house.
Oh, well,
and there's a bit of an embarrassing story about that. I've got an embarrassing Eurovision contest story. About, I would say, maybe 6 years ago, we had a Eurovision party at Mike Berthotage, know Birdie?
Yeah.
And we had to pick a country and dress. Obviously, if you said yes, that would have been surprising. We all had to dress as the country we were picking. So Mike picked Sweden, had like a blonde wig, all this. His wife picked Ireland because they're Irish. So the little baby was dressed up all in green. Mother mate picked like Norway. He was dressed like a Viking. And then his partner was dressed like a French farmer or something weird like that. I, in my infinite wisdom, and then there was someone else dressed in Spanish, so red
I'm
dress,
very
flower in the
scared
hair,
about
all
what he's
that.
about to say.
So my decision was I'll pick Iran. Now, it's kind of a double loss, really, because I had an
Careful.
Iran or Iraq? Israel. Was it Israel? One of them. Whoever's got the blue and white flag.
They're
Is that
massively
And then I
different
decided-
countries.
Europe, which isn't Iran.
Yeah.
Israel. Must have been Israel then. But they won it that year. Whoever it was won that year.
Right.
So I think it was Israel then. So I had the flag, I had a tea towel on my head, I had a Nerf gun, and like all this get up, and locked myself out
So
my
sorry.
flat on the way to the party. So I locked myself out my flat, had to call a locksmith, dressed all in this gear, and he just shows up, doesn't say anything. I'm just like, it's great. Cost me 150 quid that party, just to get the bloody locks changed. And then whoever it was, Israel won, so it was a good win.
What did you win though? Did you get to host next time, or like?
Well, no, I actually lost. Got to host it the next time, and that cost me money as well because I had to throw a party.
So Kirstie, just to go away from that calamity, I've got a couple of questions for you on Eurovision. I think one you might get. The other one, I'd be very impressed if you got. There's one like me, not these two. Well, James a little bit.
Your job is at stake as well. Just to let you know, if you get this wrong, they're gonna.
Yeah.
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding.
Me and my mate are my other friends, not these two, are like as I said, James a little bit. We're into like heavy metal and extreme music and stuff like that. And bizarrely, my friend Ryan, who is into really heavy metal, one of his favorite things is Eurovision, and I can't get my head around it. I don't understand. He just loves it. Genuinely loves it.
Oh, Lordy won that year, didn't they?
But that's the question that you've almost ruined. There was a metal band that won Eurovision. Can you tell me the country and the year? Someone's already spoiled the name.
Yeah, the guys in the masks, right?
Yeah.
I want to say it was this half of the. I don't know, 2011?
Not far. Well, 2006. So quite far.
Oh wow,
They're
that
from
long
Finland,
ago.
weren't they, Kev?
But that's much longer back than I remembered it being. Yeah.
Finland
Yeah,
won it.
Finland are really renowned for doing having the heavy rock band, because they had that other one, Cha Cha Cha, which I'm playing on Friday. That's a tune. They always seem to have every other year they have a rock band on, and they're always pretty good.
I forgot about that. It's Electric Callboy, right?
Yeah, I think that was 2019. So that they should have won. They came second that year. I can't remember who won instead of them, but I think it was the first year that they brought in. So it used to be that the panel would judge and they would say who the winner was. And now they let the public vote, and the public votes go on top. So that's how, for instance, we were meant to win with Sam Ryder, and then the public all voted for Ukraine, we stand with Ukraine, and then they obviously won. So the public vote now can change the competition completely. So in their year, I think that was the first time it had ever happened, and they kind of lost the top spot, which was a shame because their song was really good.
That's really strange. I forgot about that because I've seen Electric Callboy in Manchester, just because they're like an electro metal band. They're really good. And I know Sam Ryder. I used to hang out with him back in 2011
very cool.
at a few festivals and stuff. Yeah, he's a good lad. Other question is, who has got the most wins? Which country? We'll let Kirstie answer first, and then James can see he's got an idea.
Well, I want to say Sweden, however. When I've been doing my playlist, Ireland won in 1980, 1987, and then again in the 90s. I'm gonna say Ireland.
You win on 2 points because it's a trick question. Sweden and Ireland are joint 7-time winners.
Didn't Sweden win it 3 on the trot?
Who?
Sweden. 3 in a
No
row.
idea. I didn't look that hard. I just looked
No,
back up.
I think it was Ireland that won it 3 times in a row. Because I remember my dad telling me, and all I could think was, if you win, you host. So I'd have to research it because obviously, when Ukraine won, they obviously couldn't host it, so we hosted it on their behalf. So I wonder if you do win back to backs, if it's just see you next year, come on back. that'd have to be a Google job.
And last one before we move on. Do you know who the 5 people who won, or bands that won for the UK?
Who have won for the UK?
Yeah, we've won 5 times. Do you know who's won it?
Lulu.
Yep.
Katrina and the Waves.
Yeah.
Missing the best one.
Who? Help.
I had it on CD single as well. And she wasn't even English, she was Australian. Gina
Olivia
G.
Newton-John. Oh, Gina G.
Gina G, yeah.
Gina G?
Yeah.
That's not written down.
She was Eurovision. I'm sure she won, didn't she?
She was. I don't know
No,
if she
didn't
did
win.
actually. Did Olivia Newton-John win when she sang for us?
No, isn't she American though?
So she's Australian. So back in the day, you could, if you were like part of like the Commonwealth, they'd still let you like sing for the UK. So yeah, I mean Lulu. Brotherhood of Man.
Yes. I've never even heard of them. I've no idea how you got that one. The other 2, there's one that's really, I would say, easy. It's the only one I would have got. Who?
Cliff Richard.
No.
He won with congratulations and celebrations.
Well, Google's rubbish. Google told me Sandy Shaw and Bucks Fizz.
Oh, Bucks Fizz, yes.
Wow.
Cliff Richard did not win.
Did he come second?
Kirstie.
He doesn't actually say. He says he didn't win. He lost by 1 point to Spain, sorry.
Right, well, yeah.
Well,
I was
Spanish.
almost right.
Unbelievable.
He's incredibly well.
The name of the Spanish song was typically in Spanish, La La La.
Classic.
Of course.
How did it go, James?
Probably something in Spanish, Kev. I don't speak Spanish. La 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 El Eurovision. I don't know.
So yeah, get back on track. Anyway, that was interesting. So Kirstie, how did you actually get into the radio side of things? That's not an easy kind of. How did you what did you want to do, or how did you transition into becoming a radio DJ?
Like I said, it's my community radio. My dad has been doing a 70s show on that radio station for like 20 years. So I've always been involved with it. And then when I started my like muggle job, so when I used to work on cruise ships, so when I came home, I started working for my dad's friend who has an IT company. He's also station manager at Radio Warrington. So he was I worked for him, so he obviously got wind of my reviews, and then he obviously liked it. And then when a spot became available, he kind of just said to me like, would you be interested? So I can't really give any tips on how you can apply to be a radio DJ. I kind of just fell into it basically.
Have a dad
take notes as well. I'm gonna
have a dad that did it first, basically.
Well, was it called a Nepo baby?
Yeah,
slight bit of nepotism. That's how you get
radio baby. God damn it.
That's where you're missing out, Drew.
I know.
Drew's a voiceover artist and an actor as well.
Oh, very cool. I'd love to do voiceover acting.
Yeah, it is good fun. I did a couple of computer game things. Good fun.
Have you ever done audiobooks?
His own.
I did my own. Yeah,
he's got a book.
I wanted to do some. I haven't had a chance to kind of branch out. But being slightly dyslexic, I think would be a bit of a nightmare trying to do that.
Could be fun though for the listener.
Well, yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but I might butcher it for the author, and they'll be like, "I'm not sure I want that guy doing it. He added about 14 ands when there was only one." Like, sorry about that. But yeah. I think one of the funniest things when I was doing some voiceover stuff for a computer game was I thought that when a character gets killed or punched or stabbed, that they just add that as like a kind of like a generic sound, but they want you to actually make those noises for the character. So if you're getting poisoned, you'd be like, or like you'd be like, and like you'd have to make all of, and being in a recording booth, and the director going, "Oh, now you've been stabbed, so it's a little bit, it's not quite like the poison, it's a bit more fast and abrupt." You're like, "Yeah, that's good, that's really good," and it was like just so surreal being in a booth.
Sure, it's video games she's doing a voiceover for.
Yeah. Just video games for now.
So, Kirstie, I mentioned before I was going to actually message you last week about Thunderbolts because we have a couple of repeat guests that come on every now and again for like a special thing, and we've got a guy in New Jersey who comes on and joins us a few episodes every now and again, but he wasn't able to make it, and I was going to message you about joining us for the Thunderbolts one, but because I know you were going to see it, but I thought it'd be a bit weird inviting you on and we haven't kind of formally introduced ourselves and stuff, but. Maybe in the future if you're up for it. But what did you think of Thunderbolts? Because it's been quite.
I loved it. I gave it 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I think we thought it was completely different from like, because I'm not a big Marvel person particularly. I like them, but I'm not big into them. But I thought that offered. I am Groot.
That's brilliant.
That's cool.
I love Marvel. I always have. I'm not really very critical over Marvel. Like, what I will say for me, when it comes to movies, I'm here for the vibes. So, like, you know, Strays. Did you guys watch that? Like the dog.
Yeah, the dog one.
Loved it. I loved it. It was so funny, and everyone said it was the worst thing ever. But like I say, I'm here for the vibes. So I think a lot of people within like the MCU fandom can be really critical, and that's absolutely fine. I'm just not. So, you know, the Captain America film, it was enjoyable. It wasn't the best thing I've ever seen, but I didn't like slate it or anything because, you know, it is what it is. But when it came to Thunderbolts, I was really surprised by like how like it touched so much on depression, anxiety, and they just did it so well. And I also think in such a relatable way. Like, I know it is from the comments, but when, you know, it was called, when he went dark, it was called The Void, and I was just, it sat with me for a really long time. And just some of the scenes, you know, where she was like, oh, I feel so alone, and it was, I just thought it was so refreshing because Marvel, I think since Guardians, are hiding behind like joke after joke after joke, and it's a bit overkill. Like Deadpool and Wolverine, loved it. Was just too much. Like, give me some story, give me some action. So it was nice that with Thunderbolts there was a few jokes, but it was really story driven, and instead of having comic book characters kind of brought to life, they felt like real people that you really wanted to root for. And I think they've really turned a corner. And even if the films after this, you know, go back to the way it has been, you know, overkill CGI and whatever else, I think they can be really proud of what they did, because I think they told the story really well and kind of touched on a subject that can be tricky to handle. But I think even if you're not a Marvel fan, you could sit and watch Thunderbolts, relate to it, and enjoy it.
Well, I knew it was good because Kev gave a superhero film a 5 out of 5, which is like basically winning an Oscar.
But that's your misconception of 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5 doesn't mean it's the best film ever. It means
Kev gives everything 5 out of 5, but to give a superhero film 5 out of 5 kind of means something from Kev.
Yeah, I mean, like me and Drew discussed, it's like you said, it's like not proper actors, but more dramatic, serious actors. It was a darker plot, and it was hilarious. There was loads of funny moments, but it wasn't silly.
But it wasn't shoehorned in. The humor, sorry to interrupt. The humor wasn't shoehorned. It felt very natural. Like David Harbour's character, he's just a very funny, lovable character. So when he does things and says things, it's hilarious. And also, when we talked about the comedy part of when the limousine drives up after they've just got out of that kind of like murder cage, essentially, it's a kind of comic bit of relief where she's like, I don't know who that is. And then he's like, it's your father. Which is like, the comic timing throughout is just so clever. When his character says something, it comes from such a fun, loving place, but he's just very funny in the way he delivers things. But like you said, it's not a cheesy joke they've written and they've tried to throw it out and hope it lands. It always lands when it comes from Red Guardian, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And like, I think like what you said, like it just didn't feel forced. Sometimes like their jokes, it just is like you're told to say this and you're told to say that, and they just happened. I feel like the difference in Thunderbolts, it honestly looked like you were looking in on like mates having banter, if that makes sense. Like you said, it just seems so like genuine that's what made it even funnier, because you can imagine yourselves maybe having that conversation. So yeah, it was just really authentic and raw, and yeah, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, like buddy comedy, because you know when they're in the van and she says, "Do you like the hat?" And he's like, "You mean the helmet?" And she's like, "The hat, yeah." And he's like, "Yeah, I think the helmet's pretty cool." It's like, "Well, do you like it?" Yeah. And it's just like the idea that they're just having that kind of conversation, and he thinks it's all kind of manly and fun and cool, and they're just calling it a hat, and he's like, "It's a helmet, man. Like I'm a dude. Like I'm a, you know." It's a really funny little moment. But yeah,
I think it's good that Marvel are now finally back on track. It's been a long time. I think the last Captain America, they were kind of going the right way.
I enjoyed
Finally getting
that.
back on track, because I thought it was a good movie.
I thought it was good.
Quite a good story. It wasn't just fighting all the time. And now this one, they're like fully back on the rails. Fantastic Four coming out. Doomsday next year. Another Spider-Man film. Yeah, I think they're kind of finally... How many years has it been since Endgame? Probably 4, maybe?
2019.
So that long ago. And then they had all the sort of blips with She-Hulk, which was just more of a budget thing, I think.
I tell you what, I'm watching at the moment since Thunderbolts. I'm episode 3 on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier on Disney. Have you seen that? You've seen it? Yeah,
worth watching. You should watch Hawkeye.
I like Hawkeye as well. That was good because it's got Yelena in it. But
Really
I'm just
good.
watching this because I didn't understand a couple of things in Thunderbolts. So now going back to understand the dynamics of, you know, Wyatt Russell and things like that, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, he's really good in that.
Yeah, I really like it. But I think the last great Marvel one for me was Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Do you know what? I can't even remember it. I've only ever watched it once, and I do remember enjoying it. But I think, like, I haven't revisited any of the older Marvels. Like, this phase, I've watched them all once, and I remember enjoying them. Like, even the Marvels, I didn't hate it. I remember thinking, oh, that was like it was.
I enjoyed that.
It was fine.
Yeah.
And like you said with that Captain America, also great. Only thing, I wish there was a bit more Red Hulk. That was my only gripe with it, really. I just feel like he was featured so heavily to have like 8 minutes of screen time, and I was like, boo, give me more.
Yeah, he was good for that limited moment. But I mean, like, did you not cry in Guardians of the Galaxy 3? That was the first Marvel where I got a bit of a tear. I got a bit. James is showing
a bit more Red Hulk for you, Kirstie.
I don't play with toys. I have a little boy, so that's his.
Right.
Caveat.
I can't remember what happens in Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
That was all Kurt Russell, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's Rocket's backstory of him in cages.
Oh, of course, yeah.
He's getting operated on.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, now I remember.
I need to go. I'll have to go and watch it. It's really not that fresh in my mind. But like I said, I watched them all once and thought, oh yeah, that was good, and just never revisited it because, like, I watched all the TV shows except for She-Hulk and Miss Marvel and what's that other one?
I think.
Is it called Moon Knight? Is that another one?
Moon Knight.
Yeah, there was the one with WandaVision. WandaVision, that was the other one, wasn't it?
Yeah, loved WandaVision,
Wow,
loved
amazing.
Loki, Falcon and the Winter Soldier as well. That was very good. But I'm just hoping moving forward that the TV shows aren't going to be essential to be able to understand the movies, because I think I saw someone post the other day that She-Hulk is meant to be in like the future films, and I really don't want to have to watch the TV show because it just didn't look good.
Honestly, ignoring James's opinion, and well, actually, to be fair, you got a valid opinion, the CGI was an issue, but I did not dislike She-Hulk the series. It is, if you take it for what it is, it's a bit on the sillier side.
Okay.
But it is funny. It's entertaining, I'd say.
I still like the
I
still go back to the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special where they kidnap Kevin Bacon.
So good.
I love that. It's like the best. It's like a great little half an hour to watch at Christmas.
That's also a genius little Easter egg, because in Endgame he says, "Oh, is Kevin Bacon part of the Avengers?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know, maybe not, maybe I haven't been there for a while." And then it's like the idea that the Guardians of the Galaxy kidnap him is just genius.
Oh, I don't remember that bit.
Yeah.
That was in Endgame.
Yeah, it's either, I think it's in Endgame. There's a bit where it's Ant-Man, I think. Someone says something like, "Oh, is Kevin Bacon?" And he's like, what? Is he part of the Avengers? And it's like, and then it's clever that they've added him into the universe as a conversation, but then characters from the Marvel universe have kidnapped the actual Kevin Bacon. I thought that's quite clever little Easter
And
egg.
I think as well, what's quite nice is that the post-credit scenes seem to now actually mean something. They're not just throwing Harry Styles in for no reason. That there's like, do you remember the one with Harry Styles in?
At the end of Eternals, yeah.
Yeah, what was the point of that?
What?
Like, he's never coming back.
I try not think about that movie too much. Oh god, it was awful. That's the
Yeah,
only
it's
Marvel movie
bad.
that I won't revisit. But yeah, it was
Doesn't
at the end,
feel-
wasn't it? He like just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, but at least this
that
one.
There's that one, and then I can't remember what film it's at the end of, but there was like a random one of Howard the Duck, and it made me go, "Oh my god, we're gonna get a Howard the Duck movie." And we just never saw him again.
Yeah,
What?
was that not with Venom or something like that? Was it? It was more. I can't
Venom
remember.
cutscenes were always the best ones because they actually like showed something good. The worst one was probably, apart from Harry Styles, was probably the one at the end of the latest Captain America. It didn't really, nothing. Boat walks into the prison was like, "Ooh, something's coming."
Yeah, he said something big.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I waited 25 minutes for that. Like, it's like
Yeah,
every
something's
credit was
coming.
going. It's like, God.
Yeah. Couldn't you have said that earlier? Like, you know. So, yeah.
But I like how, if like me and Drew were talking as well, it's quite good if the films start actually knocking into each other deliberately, like with the Fantastic Four, and then that one gives an indication of Doomsday or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah,
and then
because if you
there's
were
payoff.
no, go on.
No, that was it. Then there's payoff
Oh,
if you
no,
see it. That was
sorry.
it. Yeah.
All I was
There's
going to say
payoff.
was during COVID, I decided to watch the MCU in like, you know, you can go online and like Google the order. So depend on your preference, but you know, people say you're meant to start with Captain Marvel. Other people say the Captain America movie. So I did the Captain Marvel one that they did. And when you watch the MCU in order and you watch all those end credit scenes, the MCU does not get enough credit for how clever they are when you're doing it as one continuous huge thing. The scenes and the way the next story follows on, like it's so clever. So like when you think about this phase where it's a bit like these post-credit scenes are rubbish, you know, compared to the others. So yeah, I agree, like with the Fantastic Four one at the end of Thunderbolts, it finally makes you get a bit of a fire in your belly and feel excited for the next one.
Yeah, because you know exactly what's coming, and it's a teaser for that, rather than something that you go.
Wasn't there a TV series called Invasions or something? And that was the one that had
Secret
That was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., yeah, I think.
yeah,
S.H.I.E.L.D.,
yeah.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
It had like Emilia Clarke and Olivia Williams and
Samuel
Yeah,
Johnson.
it's called a Secret Invasion.
Olivia Colman. Sorry, I think. Yeah. That
I
looks
do
good.
think
That
Florence
was bad.
Pugh at the moment can't do anything wrong, can she?
She's amazing.
Dynamite. You put her in anything and she's great. Like, even I've seen her most things she's done, even like the sort of lower end stuff. Like, she did some wrestling. She played a wrestler in
That's
like
Brilliant, that was brilliant.
a
Dude,
True Life
that
Story.
amazing.
I love
Good
that
movie. I
That
watched it only
film
a couple of days ago for like the
is
5th time. But
incredible.
even that you consider kind of lower on the thing, like the WWE productions. But even in that, she's great.
She's
And
amazing,
then
man.
obviously Midsummer was probably the first thing I saw her in.
Well, that was written and directed by Stephen Merchant.
What? Oh, was it? He's in it, isn't
The
he,
wrestling
briefly?
one. Yeah,
He's
yeah.
the boyfriend's girlfriend's kid, the dad, basically. The other dad.
Quite
Good
a
film,
new-
though.
So clear.
Yep.
He's a bloke in a movie. But no, Midsummer she's great in. She was great in Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Why
She's
they went
got
with the
a
Russian
range.
accent, though, I don't know.
She's got good range. She was great in Oppenheimer, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
She's in some
good in
period
everything.
drama as well. I haven't seen it,
Yeah.
but
Little
Little
Women is
Women.
brilliant.
She
Yeah,
was
yeah.
in Lady Macbeth as well, I think. That
Yeah.
people were saying was amazing. Like,
I do secretly wish they didn't go with the Russian accent, though, in the Marvel. Because there wasn't really a need to do it. Because her sister, Scarlett Johansson, was just American. So it's like, I kind of almost wish... I get it for Hawkeye, it was probably a one-off, didn't know if it was going to go anywhere with that character, but now it's developed and she's in the MCU properly. Kind of wish they didn't go down the Russian route.
Well, Black
With her.
Widow's from Russia, and the parents are from Russia, and she's escaped or something, or she's
Yeah,
got
but
away.
no, her Black Widow didn't speak with a Russian accent, did she?
I think because she got out sooner, I think Yelena is meant to have stayed there for longer. That's why her and Natasha don't really get on, because like Natasha like meant to have like abandoned her or something. I think that's where it kind of stems from.
Maybe they're easier out of it or something. I don't know.
So I mean, another thing is like, what's been like your favorite film that you've seen this year so far? Because there's been a couple of really big contenders. I've got a feeling I know which one it might be, but what would you say is your favorite that you've seen this year?
Might have to refer to my letterbox because my brain isn't good. I was going to say The Wild Robot, but that was actually last year. I don't think 2025 has been particularly good, like standouts. I think everything has kind of been in the middle. Do you know what I mean? Like it's been fine.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh wait, no, I tell a lie. Sinners. Sinners has been my favourite so far. Sinners, and then Novocaine, and then Thunderbolts. So they're my top three.
I liked what you said. Sorry, I liked what you said about Sinners, though, and I have to agree with you about the vampire stuff. That there wasn't enough of it, and there wasn't any fights because there were just very pleasant vampires. Like, do you mind if I come in? Is that all right? It's like no kind of, and then they'll just dance, and it's like, come on, man, let's have a fight.
The thing is with Sinners is that I enjoyed it tremendously, and I rated it 9 out of 10. I thought it was brilliant, but that is on the pretense that I enjoyed it as like a drama thriller. I enjoyed the acting, the music, the costumes. Like that is what rated it so highly. 20 minutes of vampire killing at the end. I wish there had been more of that, and then also the demise of like the head villain, the head vampire, felt a little underwhelming. But it's fine because the rest of it was so good.
And the cinematographer's a female as well. I'm not quite. I don't know her name, but it's so good to see them flying the flag for a female cinematographer who is badass and using an IMAX camera. Like it just looks stunning. If you paused any scene, it just looked like a beautiful kind of painting of that film.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And like as well, like the colour palette was so nice. And obviously we had like a gorgeous cast of people of colour, and they were just so yummy, and they just had these gorgeous costumes and these gorgeous voices, and everyone was so talented, and it was just I just rated it so highly because regardless of like there were things that weren't perfect for sure, like lack of vampires for a vampire movie, there was also just so much good stuff going on that if you just don't think of it as a vampire movie and just think of it as like a thriller with a little bit of action at the end, it was just brilliant.
If I'm honest, right, I get why they did a lot of the vampire stuff in the trailer, but I think actually this is an interesting question. I wonder if the film would have been more exciting if they tried to keep that as a twist and say don't give away the plot, right? You think it's a drama. They go down the road of Dusk Till Dawn. So you haven't seen any vampires in any of the trailers. You're watching it. You're thinking it's a drama. All of a sudden, Jack O'Connell's character appears half on fire. And you're like, what the hell's going on? And you're like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. But I think because it was built up in the trailer, you're excited about it and you're wanting more of it. But if it wasn't revealed, I wonder if it just would have been a badass twist that people go, Sinners is going to blow you away because you don't know what is coming.
Yeah, I definitely think that you're correct with that because it was the same for Companion. I would have rated it so much higher if that trailer hadn't basically told you like the whole twist and the whole story. But I wonder if production houses are like, oh, we really need bums on seats, so we need to make sure we're filling the trailer. So they're like, oh, a vampire movie, that's really cool. Because for someone like me who doesn't like horror movies, I wasn't going to see Sinners. Because I was like, oh, it's going to be scary. It was only when people said to me, it's not scary, there's hardly any vampire stuff. So I'm wondering if they showed vampires to entice people who like those type of movies, who like horror movies, to go. But, if they'd have done what you said and not shown any vampires, I probably would have been sat there waiting and probably would have been screaming my head off like, oh my God, there's vampires. I hadn't seen that coming. I do wonder if production houses are literally like, we need to put all this in the trailer so we get people in the seats, basically. But like I said with Companion, they shouldn't have done it. They just shouldn't have done it because it would have been so much more. It would have been better.
I completely agree. And to go back on that again, was they did do 2 trailers. I just think they shouldn't have done the second one because the original trailer for Sinners, I was hooked. That shot of Michael B. Jordan doing that thing with a gun, and you can't tell who he's shooting, even though that's not. I was hoping that was to the vampires, but it's not. It's something completely different, and those people deserved it anyway. But that's a whole different thing. I think if they didn't do the second trailer with all of the vampire stuff and showing who gets bitten and kind of taken over, it's like it could have just been a very different kind of.
It could have just showed shocked faces and scared faces of something we don't see. That sort of thing.
Well, you did have that. You had the brothers holding each other, with the fire.
Yeah,
like
I didn't mind that too much personally on the Sinners, because that was the biggest draw to have the vampires. I think you're right, Kirstie. I might not have been as excited without knowing there's vampires there. But Companion, you're I think more on the money on that one. I think I don't know if it's deliberate or not, but with Companion, it's got quite a long drawn out beginning. That it's just a really good relationship character study. That I was totally on the characters. In half an hour, I forgot she was a robot because it's not told to you for like half an hour. You forget what the film's about. And Sinners kind of does that as well, because there's vampires, but the first hour is just them setting a club up and going to meet the people to help them set it up, and you're just engrossed in the music and the characters. And then when the club's open, you're like, oh, here's Jack O'Connell. I forgot about that. Right, now we're in a different section of the film. But that's the problem. There is an art to these trailers, and I just wonder if they're getting it right, like financially. Maybe they are, even though it annoys us. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we normally mention in these episodes, we talk about, we think a lot of a lot of films get spoiled by trailers because they give away too much. But we were saying one of the reasons we absolutely adore Christopher Nolan is his trailers are just so intriguing without giving you away anything. They're just, his trailers are almost a psychological thriller in themselves. Like I remember watching the Dunkirk one, and you could just see like the waves going up on the shore. And then I'm trying to remember the other bit. And then I can't remember what it was now, but it was like it was just so random things. I'm like, what is this? This is so exciting. Oh, that was it. I think it's like a couple of helmets getting dropped on the beach, and then people running in the opposite direction. You're like, why are they throwing off their helmets? Like, what the hell is going on? And it was just it was very, very intriguing. And he never gives away any of the plots because he wants people to come and have that surprise in the cinema.
Yeah, because sometimes I think. No, you go.
Oh, no, you go. You go.
No, I was literally just going to say, I think sometimes they can't win because you have that same old story of, oh, that trailer looked rubbish, or you go and watch the film from a good trailer and you go, oh, that film was rubbish, all the good bits were in the trailer. So I think they are stuck between like a rock and a hard place, because the amount of times, like I go to the cinema a lot with my dad and he'll go, oh, that film looked rubbish. Like Sinners, he was like, I'm not watching that, the trailer looks rubbish. And then he sat down and watched it. He didn't love it, but he did enjoy it enough. So yeah, I think trailers are a tricky one that is either hit or miss.
What trailer would you say is almost done the best job, in the sense that it got you there, but it didn't give away too much, so you still were able to enjoy the film?
Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Obviously, we all know how it was going to end.
Spoilers!
Spoiler! But yeah, I think that was really good because do you know what? It's funny because I remember the trailer. I know there's a few, but there was like a ticking, and it kept on showing the atomic bomb, and then going to a bit of a scene, and then the atomic bomb, and going back. And I thought, I was sat there thinking, 3 hours, that is far too long. But that trailer signed me up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that black and white shot of Cillian Murphy, and he's got the black hat, and you can't see his face, and flash the camera.
Yeah, the camera's still
eyes. His eyes just pop and disappear again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
giving that example of a good trailer. My one that stopped me from watching trailers for a long time was the trailer for Get Out, because I think there is a balancing act where when I watched Get Out after seeing maybe 2 or 3 trailers, I felt like I'd watched the film. Like I just watched the whole film, being like everything was in the trailer. Similar to Trap as well. Remember that? Way too much was in that trailer.
Yeah.
Way too much info. I like what was that weird horror film, Kev, with the first person one where it just come from behind the killer, and all it just basically showed was someone walking into that rubbish film. But the trailer actually made me really excited about it. But it actually turned out it was so-so. But it was a great trailer because it kind of just gives you little nuggets here and there, and you're like, oh god, I need to see it.
It was like with Drive, the one with Ryan Gosling. Somebody even put underneath the trailer saying, this is the 3-minute version of the movie without the slow kind of like wanky shot moments of like the slow-mos going towards. But I love Drive. Like when I revisited Drive, it's an absolute masterpiece. But I see what they mean. Like if you watch the trailer, they've even done it beat for beat. So it is almost the entire film in 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
Oh, mentioning Get Out, by the way, Sinners has just overtaken it on their highest rated of horror.
200 million, right?
Yeah, it's just beat.
Get Out got that much, did it?
Get Out was one of the highest rated ones, yeah.
Wow. Didn't realize it did so well.
And talking about terrible trailers, me and Drew talked about The Amateur. Have you seen The Amateur with Rami Malek?
I really want to see that.
Oh, Jason Bourne from Wish is what I like to call it.
Yeah. Did you watch it?
Jason Bourne that can't fight, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, I did watch it. That was really mean on me because I actually didn't think it was that bad. Again, the vibes were there.
That was funny. I liked it though. That was
yeah,
good.
it was one of those. Rami was great, and I enjoyed. It was kind of like a spy movie, and the kills were interesting. How can you kill someone without putting a gun to their head? I enjoyed that. It just wasn't very fresh. I enjoyed watching it. And I'd say if you hadn't seen it, watch it on streaming platforms. But there are similar movies that did it better. But it was fine. It was good.
I hate to say it, but when I watch it,
go on.
You can finish. I hate to say it, when I watch that guy now, every time I watch him, I kind of want him to turn around and he's got the Freddie Mercury teeth in. You know when he's in, he just turns around and he's got them. He just starts talking like that.
Just turn.
I can't. I saw that movie, and now whenever I see him, that is all I see. Freddie Mercury.
It was exceptional.
That would be genius if someone cut together The Amateur and the Queen thing.
And it's
Rhapsody. Like that would be genius, though. If someone CGI'd that would be.
The point I was trying to make is that we're talking about trailers there, and The Amateur. Everything good in Amateur was spoiled on the trailer. That was one of the worst trailers that gave everything away.
Yeah, it was the same with the Trap. Not Trap. What was Trap 2.0 called? Drop.
Okay.
What's that?
I've still not seen that one. It was only in the cinema for...
Trap.
Yeah, I missed it. It was in the cinema for a week, then I missed it. So I didn't get to see
Drop.
It looked terrible.
I thought it looked good.
Yeah, but it looks so far-fetched. What are the chances of her being in a restaurant like, you got to kill the guy in front of you? Well, that's kind of convenient. Brilliant, you know? It's
far-fetched. We're talking about movies, Drew. We just spent half an hour talking about Marvel. Far-fetched.
Well, no, I wasn't saying far-fetched. I just meant how convenient that the person she's on a date with happens to be the one they want to kill.
Yeah, I mean...
He even looks a bit like Matey Boy, doesn't he?
Are you gonna watch it?
Drop?
No.
Yeah.
Drop the spoiler.
It's not a spoiler, but my problem that I had with it was very much like Trap. So Trap, the first hour, didn't need to be that long. We didn't need to have, his daughter's concert going on for like an hour. And then the last 40 minutes, we had action. It was high-paced and it was great. And that was the problem that Drop had. The first hour was just her on that date. And it's just like, how long can you kind of drag this out for? And then we got, oh my God, like, oh, that's why this is all happening. Wow, bam, bam, bam. And then it finished. So like the last 40 minutes, like Trap, brilliant. But I could not forgive that long, boring first hour opener where, it could have just been a lot quicker and a lot more could have gone on, really.
Would you like to see more from Trap? With that ending on Trap, if you remember, would you like to see maybe not a sequel, but a prequel about the guy?
Yes, because this is what griped me about it so much. They had such good formula that just wasn't executed well enough. Like I wanted more of him. I'm like, I appreciate good abs, but why was he shirtless? I didn't need that. That's just so random at the end of the film. Like, he's got his kit off.
But also, why is he called the Butcher? Why is he called the Butcher? And yet we see there's like no blood. Like there's hardly any violence in it at all, really, apart from somebody gets a deep fat fryer explodes on some people, which is...
He's not murdering people. He's caught. He's trapped. That's the point. And he's got to escape. He's not going out murdering people. He's just got to escape.
No, I get that. I'm just saying I'm annoyed because he's called the Butcher, and I was hoping there might be some pieces...
He's not going to get an axe and start chopping children apart.
No, but I know that. Not in the gig anyway. Like, excuse me. But I'm just saying, when he gets home, there might have been like pieces of bodies like in a freezer, or I wanted this to be a bit more like Dexter. Like,
yeah, it could have been like half an hour of like a bit of a backstory on him, then half hour of the concert, and then the way it finished. I felt, like you said, like a prequel would be good, but in my head I'm like, do I want to give this franchise any more of my time? They've broken my trust with how bad that film was.
See, I thought it was different. I thought that he wasn't going to be a bad guy. When he goes to the toilet and he looks at the phone and you see the guy captured in his basement, I thought, right, this is M. Night Shyamalan. He's going to have a twist here. So maybe he's not the bad guy trying to capture this guy and kill it. Maybe he's caught the killer and he's trying to punish him for doing something to one of his family members, or I don't know. I had a feeling that he wasn't going to be evil. He was going to flip it. And I think the best twist was that there was no twist. Because M. Night Shyamalan always twists everything, that was unique.
Like, my biggest twist, no twist.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be a twist, if I'm honest, or he was some sort of copper, or I don't know what, but I was expecting something. It just didn't happen.
But Kirstie, do you think more films are following less? I don't know if you ever read the book Save the Cat, where it talks about the pacing and the setup of each story, and how it should be 3 different acts, and how characters should have obstacles that they need to overcome to get where they need to go to get into the next act, and yada, yada, yada.
Is that a popular book we should all have read?
You should all read Save the Cat. No, it's really good. It is quite profound.
Got it here. It's written by Drew Horner.
Save the cat, save the dog, save the guinea pig in Thunderbolts. Anyway, but what I mean is, and I think Kirstie will probably agree, that a lot more films, they're just creating fat filler where there's nothing going on, and then they've got all the best bits. They're just trying to make a 90-minute or a 2-hour film, and it's like they've gone, here's a really good concept, and then the filmmakers and the producers are like, I tell you what, if you could make it longer, then we could call it a feature film, because at the moment you just got some great ideas here. Make it longer. They're like, okay, how about a really boring hour of a date? Perfect. It's now 90 minutes or 2 hours. Signed. It's like, films don't have the same kind of pacing as they used to back in the day. Like when Kev and I were talking about, for example, Jerry Maguire, a very different film to kind of horrors or thrillers, but the pacing, and you're entertained all the way through. There's no boring moments. You're either learning something about a character, or a character's going through difficulties, or they're trying to help another character that's going through something difficult. It's not just boring filler that's constantly just being extended,
Yeah. Did you watch the film? I think it was on Valentine's Day. It came out. The one with the really cute guy from the Goonies. He's an adult now. He's in Loki. What was his film? Love Hurts.
Love Hurts, yeah. Ki-Hu Kwan.
Yes, exactly. That film, I think my review for it was literally like, the producers must have had a meeting and been like, right, let's do like Rush Hour meets John Wick, and that's what we come up with. And it was, like you said, it feels like at the moment they have all these great ideas, and they're like, oh gosh, it's only coming in at 65 minutes. We need to push it to 90 minutes. All right, what can we do? Oh, well, let's add a younger woman who's now his love interest, and that doesn't make any sense. And let's do another fight scene, like John Wick 4, 5, or whatever one it was. Oh, if he got pushed down those stairs one more time, I was turning it off. It was so frustrating. I'm like, this film, he doesn't need to get kicked down those stairs that many times. You don't need to follow him around Paris all this much. TikTok. I'd rather it be an hour and a half than 2.5 hours of the same stuff.
Yeah.
I've got a really good idea for. Tell me to bugger off if you don't want to do it. But for your Instagram, Kirstie, I feel for your social media presence, your face should be more involved, and you should be saying your reviews, because your reviews in your voice at the speed you say it with your comedy timing would be amazing. Because the reviews that you give for everyone listening, go and follow Kirstie's weekly review on Instagram, because she has the picture of the film. The next slide will be a review in detail, and the third slide will be a kind of a quip on it. And the quip is the best part, and it's really, really funny. And the stuff you say, now I've heard you say it in person, I think it sounds funnier coming from you than just reading it.
If you go back to my Sinners review and you can read what I said for my letterbox, and now you'll hear it in my voice. What's better than one set of Michael B. Jordan's biceps? 2 sets of Michael B. Jordan's biceps.
Yes.
That's the whole review, by the way. That's it.
That's it.
Perfect. No,
Letterbox see me coming.
your wordplay is brilliant, though, Kirstie. Like, it's really funny. Like, you've got really good wordplay, and
Oh, thanks, guys.
you're a wordsmith with your reviews. It's
What
good.
Drew's trying to say is, he's a poet and he appreciates your poetry. He is a genuine poet, if you didn't know.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that she is a wordsmith, though, with the way that she expresses and explains things in films. It's genius. And like you said, Kev, that's definitely what you should use.
I like your review of Companion. It's got nothing to do with Companion. Kirstie's review of Companion is 3.5 stars. Here it is. It took me until the credits to realise the main girl in this is in fact not the same girl who played Priscilla. That's it.
I was supposed to Spain the whole time.
Yeah, it's the girl from Alien. Not Alien. What's it called?
No, it's not. You got it wrong now.
What's the new Alien film called?
Alien Romulus.
That's Priscilla. Yeah, Priscilla's Alien Romulus. Yeah.
Oh yeah, she is. Yeah, Kaylee Spaney is her name.
That's it. And Companion, as Heretic. She was great in Heretic, though, wasn't she? Really good.
She was. Yeah, I like that film a lot.
That was a masterpiece. Heretic. I really love that.
Anything that challenges religion, I find it very interesting.
That conversation with Monopoly and all the board games, that was amazing.
Whoa.
So good. And I think as well, like, I asked my friend who's kind of like, who is religious, I said, what did you think about it? Because I did wonder, would people watch that and be like, has my whole life been a lie? Like, this actually makes sense? Or would they watch it and go, oh, far-fetched Hollywood or whatever? Because, like, my mum's Catholic, she's religious. I haven't really got a religion. I'm just like, believe what you want to believe, and I'll see you on the other side, sort of thing. So when he was dissecting it and he was talking about all these different religions and why is Jesus' birthday always moved and this and the zodiac, and I find any film that makes my brain tingle and makes me come away thinking about it, even though the film itself wasn't like a masterpiece, if I come away and 2-3 days later I'm still having a conversation with other cinephiles, like, what did you think? I think you've hit the nail on the head, and I think you've got a good movie.
Yeah, I agree. Even at the end, like a week later, I wouldn't say it was one of the best movies, but it's one of those few movies that does make you contemplate things, and it stays with you for a lot longer. But Hugh Grant, like, exceptional in that film.
His performance.
Yeah, I love it. I want more of him. I want absolutely more of Hugh Grant.
Have you ever seen that video of him where he's like, I hate people who walk on their phones, I hate backpacks on the front. It's just, he doesn't care, and it's so funny.
Just hates everything. He's brilliant. So you told me as well that your favourite things, you're more of a Disney person.
Yes.
And in what way? What's your what's the sort of main Disney things you're into? Have you got specific things that you love, or you just love the lot?
I mean, I'm not like a crazy Disney adult. Like, I wouldn't like push a child out the way to see Mickey Mouse. I mean,
what about Buzz Lightyear?
Oh. No, I just Disney. I feel like maybe everyone has kind of like their comfort. And sometimes I think, well, I say Disney, I think maybe just animation in general. I don't think, like the other day, literally actually last night, I sat down and I thought, oh, I want to feel something. And if I said to you, if you want to feel something, what film do you guys put on? Just each one of you.
Watch Mufasa die in The Lion King and then cry.
All right. It doesn't have to be Disney. It could be anything.
Ratatouille.
Okay.
So you're all going.
The Lion King.
That was quite a judgment. Okay.
So you're all going Disney, basically, are you?
You don't have
Lion
to go
King's
Disney.
an emotional movie.
If I want to come close to tears, Top Gun.
Okay. So I feel like no matter what Disney film or animation film, you can always like guarantee to feel something. And I did a post on my Instagram recently just about Alan Menken. I just put a compilation together of his music, and I kid you not, when I put that together, I had like tears in my eyes, because I feel like there's just something about Disney and animation films that can just pull on you no matter what age you are. And last night I thought, oh, I just want to feel something. So I sat down and I watched Prince of Egypt, and I was like, I ate this up when I was 10, and they're all getting whipped. God's like, two wrongs don't make a right. Wrong, I'm going to kill all your kids, put the lamb stuff on the walls. Like, I was like, I don't remember this, but oh, it was so good. It let my people go. And I was just crying. And I just think to myself, if they were humans, if it was like a human version, would I have felt that? Does it just sometimes hit you deeper in your feels because it's like a 2D animation? So yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it makes me feel something.
Have you seen
This might
Inside
be a
Out?
stupid question, but have you seen? You've obviously seen The Iron Giant.
A very long time ago. Haven't rewatched
That
it
film. I watched it the other day. It's so good, like so good, and the animation style. Considering it wasn't even that long ago it was made. It wasn't made in like the 70s or 80s, was it? It was made in the 2000s, 90s.
Yeah.
I think it was quite recent, and they took that old sort of hand-drawn animation thing, and I just think that's absolutely amazing. That film. I don't know who makes that.
Finding Nemo just completely broke me. I think a lot of those films, though, where they kill off the parents really early on, you're like, you bastards.
Yeah.
And it's like the trauma that the little characters have to deal with as they're kind of getting, older.
Disney do that a lot, don't they? Like kill. They have quite horrific deaths, like how Gaston dies in Beauty and the Beast. Like and how Ursula dies, gets rammed by a flipping boat. Pretty horrific.
Well, if someone said to me, like, what's your all-time favourite film ever, I will always say The Hunchback of Notre Dame, because it's just, the music, everything about it is amazing. I watched it very recently, and every time I rewatch it, I notice something differently. So as a child, you're kind of watching it as an animation movie. But there's this moment where he grabs Esmeralda in the cathedral, and he sniffs her hair, and she goes, "What are you doing?" He says, "Oh, I'm imagining a rope around your pretty neck." And she says, "I know what you were imagining," and pushes him away.
What?
So you don't think about it. And then, Quasimodo is having the best time of his life, and then they all strap him down and they throw fruit at him, and it honestly makes me so teary thinking about it. And then, like you were saying earlier, you need your story to have a act 1, act 2, act 3, and I feel Disney really do that, and they have a journey for their characters. And yeah, like with Hunchback, if you get a chance, watch it like as an adult now, and you'll cotton on to all these little things, especially like he was basically insinuating he was gonna like essay her basically, and then he has the amazing number Hellfire when he's singing to the fire. If you listen to his lyrics, he's basically saying, if I can't have her, no one else can. And then he ends up trying to burn her at the stake. And when you watch it as an adult, you're like, this is so dark. And then when I was younger, I was like, topsy-turvy, like living my best life, but it's actually awful.
He's a psycho.
The most horrific thing, probably the most creepy thing I think Disney have ever done is if you rewatch Pinocchio. The fox is the bad guy. He's one of the bad guys, right? So he's a pretty nasty piece of work, and he kidnaps the kids, doesn't he? And says they go to Pleasure Island, and he's giving them to that bloke, and that bloke whispers to him. He goes, "They don't come back as boys," and then he whispers to the fox, and the fox's like eyes look like. Bear in mind, he's the bad guy. He's the nasty one. The guy's whispering to him. You never know what he says, but you see the fox's face just drop, and he's like, "They don't come back as boys." It's like, wow, that is intense. Like, that's insane.
I've never noticed that before, but what I did notice is back in the day, in Pinocchio especially, do you notice how in the scene where they're smoking cigarettes or they're smoking cigars, and the actual packet, they sponsored that movie, like they gave money to produce the movie back in like the 30s or 40s, whenever it was. So that's why they had the kids smoking, so they could promote these like cigarettes in the movie.
Marlboro? It was Marlboro, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was Marlboro Red. Yeah, so then when you watch it on Disney, it's so funny now because they have to cover their back about everything, and they're like, the views in this film were, of a time, and blah blah blah, and it's these 12-year-olds, like you said, lighting up a cigarette, and then all these dodgy comments.
Well, have you seen that thing about Walt Disney? The actual guy, Walt Disney, apparently had a cigarette in his hand all the time. And if you go back and look at pictures of him, what they've done is they've photoshopped the cigarettes out nowadays. So a lot of time he'll just be in a weird position with his hand like that or like this. And it's because they've taken the cigarette out, because apparently he was like Doc Cotton of the movie world, just always smoking. Like, just
Oh,
always
applause from
smoking. So that's
medical.
probably why the cigarette thing came in. But yeah, he's always smoking. They apparently photoshopped him out. So if you ever see a weird picture of him, he's like doing like that or like this. It's like, what are you doing with your hands? Because they've taken out the cigarette.
Isn't it?
It's like, have you seen the artist that's done the same with taking people's phones out of their hands and seeing people doing stuff like that?
That's
and like,
hilarious.
It's when you
Right,
ask like a younger person, we say to them like, "Oh, how do you answer the phone?" Like, I would do that. They do this.
no ways
Or
now.
or this. Boop.
I'm still on this.
Oh, this is it. How would you wind down your window? I would do
Ken's
this.
still
They
pulling
just
out telephone boards and putting them in the different connectors.
Yeah. How would you
Ken's
bring
doing
your
Morse
friend
code. Do, 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 do.
with a 20p? You're like, yeah. Crazy times.
There must be so many inappropriate things. That would be like an interesting post as well for you to do. Like,
Yeah.
you didn't notice in Disney films or like.
Well, they say the hidden
inappropriate
meanings in yeah,
Well, even like
animations.
the one that springs to mind is like Toy Story. Like when Buzz Lightyear sees like Jessie for the first time, he's like standing there, looks a bit, and his wings pop up and go,
Yeah. Yeah.
start flashing, and it's like that's
An innuendo.
yeah,
The
very
thing
much.
I love about Toy Story is when you realise that the whole time Jessie's original owner was Andy's mum, and their cowboy hat. And yeah, the cowboy hat Andy wears in the first film, the red cowboy hat, is a replica of Jessie's. And it's when you do the flashback of Jessie getting dropped off, it's Andy's mum dropping her off. And that's why he's got the red cowboy hat, because he's not got a brown cowboy hat, it's red. Same as Jessie's.
That's
And
crazy.
it all kind of
But
full circles.
that's
There's
another
loads of
one.
things. Well,
Sorry, go
Boo,
on.
you know Monsters Inc. Boo from Monsters Inc. is actually in Toy Story 4. She's playing one of the games at the fairground. Yeah, there's loads of stuff
Monsters
like
Inc.
that.
One of my favorites.
You were talking about this, all the links, and then Pizza Planet
Yeah,
is
at the end of
Inside
WALL-E,
Out. It's
yeah,
on
when
one
they
of the...
show WALL-E Dystopian World, one of the factories, one I think they show a Pizza Planet van, and the other one is they show the factory that is the manufacturer of the batteries that's in Buzz's back. There's loads of little sort of Easter eggs in Disney. It's crazy.
They're all connected. Yeah.
Mm.
I think if you're creating all those sort of digital things, you're going to reuse them as well, and then might as well create a little bit of a narrative, a little Easter egg hunt as well. I think it's clever.
And there's also the biggest one,
Multiverse.
the sickest one
Pixar.
is that the worst one is Scar ate Mufasa. That's the one, because when there's a scene after Mufasa dies, and it's Scar in his little cave, and there's the skeleton head of another lion behind him.
Well, have you ever noticed in Shrek that they take all the fairy tale creatures away, and then the next scene it goes to Lord Farquaad in his bed, and it's Mama Bear as the rug.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
It's terrible, isn't it? If you think about it.
Yeah, it's so bad.
Whoa.
But if you think about it,
Kids
even
be
like
traumatized, they knew.
even when you were kids and stuff like that, like I don't know what age you are, but like when like Tom and Jerry was like prevalent when I was a kid and stuff like that, and that's and like Looney Tunes, and that's just ultra violent to the point. That's the point of like the Simpsons
Itchy and scratchy.
taking a piss out of and doing it
In
and
the
scratchy.
Simpsons, yeah.
And it is so aggressive, but you don't realize as a kid because no one gives it. You know, watching RoboCop at the age of 8, so Tom and Jerry wasn't going to bother me. You know,
Well, yeah, but it's like Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote, which was my favorite kind of cartoon growing up. But the whole concept of that is harsh because all he wants to do is eat the bird, right? Which is technically nature. And then the bird outsmarts him, and he's spending all this money on acne stuff, but he can't get the bird, and he just ends up blowing up in his face, quite literally. It's like
Spends a lot of money, doesn't he? Actually, when you think about it,
he spends an awful lot of money.
I wonder who's bankrolling him.
Yeah,
Like dynamite can't be cheap, and like where's he like getting it from?
Yeah,
There's
just
no
got a
internet back
supplier.
then. It just has a guy. Bloody
he's
bird's
probably got
back.
some kind of sugar daddy. It's like, hey, yeah, dude, listen, I haven't got meep yet. Yeah, I know, but if you could just lend me, look, I know we spent a lot. Okay, fine, yeah, fine. Like,
yeah, the guy's like, try not standing on the edge of a cliff next time. It's like, okay.
What was the cartoons you got into as a kid then before you got into like all the movies and stuff like that? Did you watch any? I don't know if that's too old for a
No,
backstory?
no, I used to. Do you know what? There's so many that I used to watch, and I can't even remember like the name of them. But do you know when like clips appear and it kind of brings you back that nostalgia? Like I remember watching this one, and I remember the opening credits. Like he like came down in like a slide, and then you know, but I watch stuff like, so I'm 31, so I was in a bit of a mixed age where it was like newer stuff and older stuff. So like I like watched Dora the Explorer, and I was probably a bit too old to be watching it. You know, I was like 12, I was watching it. But Dora the Explorer is still on now, but it's totally different. The animation's different, everything. But like I said, like when I was younger, I did watch TV, but I was all about Disney, all about anything singing or dancing. Like that was what I really enjoyed watching the most.
And
Did
you
you
do
see the
singing and
thing that
dancing
Family
now?
Guy did? Oh, sorry, the
Oh.
Family Guy. Dora the Explorer is just like
No.
Consuela, the cleaner. Now they're like wearing the same gear, and she's like, "No lemon pledge."
That's so
Yeah, do you do singing and dancing now, or what's your?
yeah, so I did it professionally for like 10 years, and then COVID happened, and then I went back for one more contract, and then I just kind of decided that I was edging 30. I met my partner on the cruise ships, and he was living in Essex, and I was still living in the north. And we just were like, you know, we need to be able to buy a house, and it's very difficult when you're self-employed. So we just took the plunge to like come off, get like muggle jobs, and yeah, so now we finally have our house, and I do amateur dramatics instead. So that's really fun. We do it at the Brinley in Runcorn. So my next one, I'll see you there, Kev.
Sounds good. Yeah, just let us know. In Runcorn, that's not too far.
Yeah, I think the next one I'm doing. Oh, actually, I'm doing the producers at the Hammond in Chester in November.
How are you?
wow.
Where? What location?
The Hammond.
Where's that?
It's my old dance college actually. It's Hoole, I want to say.
Oh, in Hull. Right. Okay. Yeah. I thought it'd be like the only place I know that does stuff is Story House and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think they're using the college because the college has like a built-in like theatre sort of thing. So, because obviously with amateur dramatics, it's all charity and they raise money so they can put on the shows and stuff. So I think they kind of have to do everything on like a bit of a budget sort of thing. But yeah, no. So that's how I kind of keep ticking over with my singing and my dancing. And it's just nice just for there not to be anyone, you know, saying to me like, "Oh, you're too fat. That was flat. You don't sound good. You don't look good."
Do
At least now I
people
can
say
just do
that?
it for fun. Yeah.
Do people say that?
Yeah,
You're too fat. Drew, do people say that? Do they say you're too fat?
all the time, man.
James, you
How
say
rude.
that.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, as many audition I've been to, we loved you, but you just don't have the right look. You're too small. Oh, okay, that's fine. And then other auditions will say, "Oh, you're too fat." And then, yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. Like, I auditioned for Disney, and they were like, "We loved you, but Cinderella wouldn't have a nose ring in." And I'm like, "Well, I can take it out." And it's like,
It's
"No,
not
she won't have a
patch.
hole in her nose now."
Also, modern
Yeah.
Cinderella, you know she's got a nose ring. She's probably
She's got a
vaping.
sleeve. She's got tattoos.
She's got an OnlyFans account. She's a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, like, it is harsh. But you know, people who watch the shows are just as harsh. When I used to work on the ships, I used to go off in port, minding my own business, and I was sat there, and I think to a passenger, we all look the same. You know, me and 5 other girls have blonde hair, and they're sat there telling me how wonderful the shows are, and they said, "Oh, we really like that girl. She's very small compared to everyone else," which was me, and I was like,
How small are
"Oh
you?
yeah." Pardon?
How small are you? How are you
No.
short as anything?
No, I'm only 5'4", but we were like all put together during COVID and put on the ship. And I kid you not, they were the tallest girls I've ever seen. They were like 5'10". So I looked a bit stupid. So when she said like, "Oh, the small girls are our favourite," I was like, "Oh my God, that's me." But I was trying not to cotton on. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's nice." And she was like, "Yeah,
Slowly
it's a shame
crouching
about
down
those."
like that. Oh, was
Yeah,
that
but
really?
she was
Really?
like, yeah, she was like, "Oh, it's a shame though about those thighs. They're huge."
Jesus.
I have the
So-
same problem with my friends. Majority of my friends are like 6'2", 6'3", like or taller. So when I'm out with them, I'm like 5'10", like average height. But I look like I've won a competition when we get like a picture taken together or something, like a Make-A-Wish kid or something. I'm like sat in the middle of a couple of shoulders. Like, hello.
I don't want to labour the point, James, but we're all 5'10", and we got a photo taken, the three of us together, and I'm definitely taller than both of you.
No, it's
You
just
were
great.
wearing your Cuban heels, though, Kev.
It was
I seen them insoles off TikTok. You putting in your shoes.
Yeah, it's always funny because I say to people like, "Oh, I'm 5'5", and then my boyfriend says, "Yeah, on your CV." I'm like, yeah, okay. But yeah, no, the performing industry is quite brutal, like, especially when it comes to how you look, but also people who watch theatre can be brutal. I think it's just a brutal world, and you have to have a bit of a thick skin. So yeah, it's just nice when you do amateur performing that it doesn't matter your size, how good you are, you're just there to have a good time. So
Yeah.
I enjoy it a lot to just have like no pressure.
It's great to do that.
Cool.
Like it's good that you're keeping in on it, even though you've got your, like you say, your proper job or salary job for the mortgage. You're still doing the stuff you enjoy. That's the best
Muggle
part,
job,
and you're not
Kev. Muggle job.
Huh?
Muggle job.
What
Harry Potter.
Muggle?
Kev doesn't know Harry Potter.
Yeah.
What?
I've heard of him. No, I do know Harry Potter.
I've
Of course, I know
heard of
Harry
him.
Potter.
Oh god.
Like he's some local
Kirsten sounded so
politician.
offended by
Yeah.
No, I'm guessing that Kirstie's a big fan of Harry Potter, and you just think he's just a name, Kev, when he's actually like a
Yes, I've
household
heard of
name.
that guy. Does he work once? Like, he play for England? Like, who is he?
But
Like,
does he do
talking to
something
him
with
like
his
no,
stick?
like the entire planet. There's parts of Africa that like have never seen us lot that know who Harry Potter is. Kev,
I like that part he did when he played that Nazi in that film. He was good in that.
brilliant.
Black.
Yeah, but that wasn't Harry Potter.
Daniel Radcliffe, yeah.
No, it wasn't a
Harry
Nazi woman in black.
wasn't a Nazi.
That would have been a different film. The ghost was a Jew. It's like, geez, oh, God.
Don't worry, Kirsty. I'm confused as well. I don't know what's happened here. Anyway, we've taken up tons of your time as well. Anyway, but like, genuinely, this has been a joy. The guys all agree. Like, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
I thought that was really, really enjoyable chat, and you've got tons of charisma. And if you'd be up for coming on again, we would love to have you on again at some point.
I'm all over it. Like I said, I could talk a glass eye to sleep.
I've never heard that expression in
That's
my
awesome.
life.
I like
I
that.
had to read that a couple of times when you sent that to me. I was like, I don't. And
It's
yeah,
the
I
idea
don't
of
That
little
as
know.
the
clothes.
header for the thing. I could
Yeah.
talk a
Glass eye.
glass eye to sleep.
The glass eye can't close, Kev. That's what it
Yeah, it
means.
should be on your bio.
It
But
should be on a t-shirt. Yeah.
but yeah, no, thank you
Merch
very
coming
much.
soon.
Nice.
Right, I'll press stop, but don't go anywhere because it just needs a second to upload. But yeah,
Cool.
thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
This has been Rage Whale. Thanks for hanging out with us. We hope you had a whale of a time. Oh, wait! Just before you head off to listen to another one of our episodes, I'm not going to ask you to give us a follow and a 5-star review or follow our social media such as Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, although that is your choice. But we would like to tell you about a new website we have called ragewhale.tmill.com, where you can get some merchandise to support us: hoodies, t-shirts and mugs. There is a link here and on our social media profiles. Thank you so much for listening again. See you next time.